at this article, which I've been wanting to look at for quite some time. So part of apparently it's Pride Month again. It seems like every month is Pride Month, right? All the time, lots of pride. Okay. Absolutely. Rossi Davis is 100% wrong that the problem that the gay world's having is the problem the gay world's having is the TQIA world, and it's not a lack of exposure; it's an overexposure. So the BBC had a secret covenant gaze. It wasn't secret. Original director Waris Hussein opened up to Benjamin Cook. Yeah, okay. About the love, pride, hate, and fear, and wild imagination of the unearthly child. And again, Benjamin Cook has edited 2 of these cut down Doctor Who so far, and I would say done a universally bad job with both of them. Right, the colorization on War Games was fantastic, but the edit was awful. However, you got Pete McTeague, right, who is an expert editor, right? His edits of Inferno and the Silurians are excellent, as are Silver Nemesis. He makes that piece of shit into something watchable. And I am convinced that Rusty Davis getting Ben Cook that job is like getting your boyfriend a job, right? I've always found myself slightly outside looking in, considers Waris Hussein. That's not I feel sorry for myself, but my entire life is spent trying to get from one side to... Well, look, Waris, in all fairness, right? You are a Muslim in and you were like in the 1960s, where there was far fewer Muslims in England, and you're a gay Muslim, which means you couldn't live in a Muslim country, right? I mean, not Muslim, of Muslim descent, I should say. So I can understand why you will feel like an outside looking in. However, I think a cardinal mistake the queer world has made is they believe they are the only outsiders looking in, right? There's no other... everybody's an outsider looking in. That's why people like Doctor Who, essentially. You know, if you look at the world a different way, or if you're smarter than most, you'll like Doctor Who. Nothing to do about being gay. If you're like gay, you'll probably like Doctor Who as well. In many ways, it was a perfect fit for Doctor Who then, a show that's always resonated with outsiders. That's true. It was made by them, especially in the beginning. I think that's a very true comment, right? I think that's why Doctor Who is so popular, because it is made by outsiders, and most people are outsiders, right? Oh, no. I would say most people are, of the herd. But, like, a lot of people are outsiders, right? Who don't want to be part of the herd. Sidney Newman, the Canadian son of a Jewish restaurant immigrant, blah, blah, blah. Variety Lambert, blah, 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 blah. It's mid-January 2025. Southern California is burning over the past week. Devastating wildfires. It's called the Wrath of God. We're ready to evacuate. We haven't yet. We're not blah, 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 blah. He was just 24 when he directed the first 4 episodes of Doctor Who, or 5 including the pilot. Listen. It's something that I think that really has killed modern Doctor Who is the levels of management involved in it, and how everything got too precious and too slugged up, right? Used to be, you used to be able to make 13 episodes a year and do a spin-off series or 2, right? Now you make 8 episodes every 18 months, essentially. Why? What happened to production that made it you have to shrink it down that way? Whatever you did, you got to reverse it. And I think there's too much management there, which I think is where most of the money is being wasted. A 24-year-old kid, and you can feel the energy in it, and you can feel him like thinking, this is a incredible opportunity, right? Man, the BBC is the opposite of what it used to be. Who the heck is this guy? Was the question going around the studios, remembers Waris. I was very conscious of having to carve out my place and make my name. Yeah, listen. I'm sorry that coming up to how many? What were we up to? 25, 40, was it 60 or 70 years ago? We were there was much more bigotry and racism. And I admit that like there was a lot of hateful bigotry and racism, but I think most of it, I really do, because I have a very good opinion of the British, right? And I think most of that racism is there's like a somewhat unease at difference, like, oh, you're a different skin color, it's just like, well, and you also have a different culture. But I don't think it was like, oh, I hate you, right? Oh, I don't know. In 1964, he directed 6 more episodes of Doctor Who and Marco Polo. Interesting aside, by the way, let me share this with you. This is coming out very soon, in a few days. Hang on. This is the first completely AI reconstruction of a missing story, which is Marco Polo by Doctor Who in the computer pictures, I think. Again, it's not perfect, but it really, to me, it's one of the best things I've seen. I think I think I looked at this the other day, didn't I? I can't remember.
Must have been made by a giant.
So nearly there, right? And then they cut back to the footage that they actually had. Right, so it's so nearly there. But anyway, so you can get this by being a member of his Patreon. Let me just find that for you. Hang on. Midjourney. Oh, it's quite badly called Doctor in the Midjourney again. Thank God for that. Oh. Yeah, Patreon. Share screen. Oh, it just sort of a preview of it. Send to devices. Searching Google Lens. No. When did he put this out? Oh, that's today. Maybe he's got anyway, so this is a reconstruction. Here, let me just take this off for a second. I'll see if I can work out the Patreon video download. Let's see if we can get that. Patreon video download 3 okay, for free. What the 3 best method? I don't want to download a freaking thing. Here, I'll just try video downloader online. Let's see if that works. Video downloader online. Saveroom.net. That always takes forever, but let's see if it works, right? Let's see if it works. Resume video. Let's try this. Maybe it will. Who knows or dares to dream? It's thinking about it. It's certainly thinking about it. It's really quite impressive though if it does, because like I'm actually quite psyched for this. It says no, I don't want to subscribe. Download 8. No, I don't want that. Download. I think maybe if I is it gonna download for free? No, I don't want your software. I just want you to download it for me. Oh, the site's not supported. Annoying thing is somebody did send this to me, right? Maybe this site is not supported. Upgrade to unlock, I guess. Well, yeah, we'll just play it through here, I guess. Give me a second. Oh, is this mine? I think this is just what I just looked at. Anyway, so this I think is a very exciting new what's the word I'm looking for? Innovation. It's coming. When's he dropping this? Hang on. So I presented the first few minutes of Doctor Who Rule of the World, aka what's that? Is this over here? I bet you that is on his Twitter feed. Illustrated with comfy. I don't understand any of this. Animation and fakes. But what date is he dropping it? Let's go over here. Patreon members will get tomorrow. That's today, I think. A warts and all cut of my Marco Polo scene. No, but I think he's dropping the whole thing relatively soon, right? Again, which I find this is where Doctor Who is exciting nowadays. In classic, not in current Who. New series coming. Does anybody care? You know what? I think if there's anybody cares, if there's anybody out there who cares, there's one man. There's one man who can put out his psychic feelers. And you could get arrested for that, and you'll totally go blind. Put out his psychic feelers, right? To find somebody out there who is excited for the new era Doctor, the new season of Doctor Who. That one man can only be Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks.
all feelers are out, aroused, and erect. Hello.
And that's just
Ncuti Gattu's been photographed out and about today, or was it yesterday?
Yeah, he's
wearing long trousers.
Not interested in Doctor Who.
Well, I think he must be unwell because he's in long trousers. And
he's on the cover then. Oh, he got give up. So anyway, I was just reading the Waris Hussein interview from Doctor Who magazine. Have you looked at that yet?
Well, I did. To be honest, I mean, I hate to say it, I won't say I'm a big fan of Waris Hussein. I've never met him, never seen a great deal of his other work outside of Doctor Who, but it's somebody I respect enormously. And they've got this massive interview with him. And from what I understand, Ben Cook's got hours to talk to this icon of British television, a genuine sort of innovator, and somebody who made that transition from small UK television to international film and television. And he seems to spend
broke into the entertainment industry in England in the early 60s, where it was like a old boys club, right? And he wasn't white, he wasn't straight, and he got in there on the dint of his own talent and what's the word? Ambition, right? And what does Ben Cook want to talk to him about? What things he likes to put
his cock.
Up the bottom.
His cock and balls.
His cock and I mean, like, really, Ben? Really? Like, I wish, and I'm going to say this about gay people, I'll say this about queer people. Why do they think we're all constantly fascinated with queerness? Like, that's a bloke wearing a dress who's called shit. Why? Like, what do you think we're looking for? Or more drag queens? Can we have more of that? Oh yeah, a bit more. Why?
There's a degree. I think the people who are really into that, people like Russell T Davies. I don't know about Ben, but Russell, obviously, he doesn't hide his.
Ben is totally into that. I'm sorry.
His fascinations, but to them, it's the equivalent of seeing that scene where Nicola Bryant's in the bikini in Planet of Fire. To them, it's like that for them, and they can't stop banging on about it. If we keep banging on about that scene with Nicola Bryant in the bikini, people look at us strangely, and we're not allowed to.
Again, the thing is, I have stopped banging on about that. I mean, I do think about it every 24 seconds, but like I keep it to myself, right? And I wouldn't.
You wouldn't want that scene from Planet of Fire subliminally embedded into everything that's broadcast on British television.
I have to disagree. The scene I have embedded indelibly in my mind is the ending of The Two Doctors, episode 2, as Nicola Bryant runs down a Spanish hillside in hills, jiggling in slow motion. Or at least in the way I play it back, it is.
It's how she's looking down. She's looking down at her feet so she doesn't fall arse over tit. And in doing so, it just makes the juddering more pronounced and effective.
More fantastic. I did a thing. Was it on Saturday, Sunday? Feel good Doctor Who. I said the ultimate feel good Doctor Who is having sex with Nicola Bryant while watching that scene in slow motion on a big screen TV. I mean that really is. That really is it to me. So I got about an hour and a half into your Tuesday stream, right? And I'm intrigued at your comment about this. See, because I had a different take on this, but you were not interested to buy on this, right?
Not at 45 quid. I'm not.
That's the price. So I didn't think the price was too outrageous. You get the sonic screwdriver and a figure. Sonic screwdriver, you got to be paying £25 or £25 for now. And
on the surface of it, coldly, think does it represent good value for money? I don't know. There's an argument that says perhaps that it does. But when they announced, for example, this on a Wednesday morning, and you've got about 8 hours to decide whether you're going to spend the best part of 50 quid or not on something, or it's gone forever, at a time of the month when all your bills might have gone out, that is the dilemma.
You're making a fair point there, but for me, the inclusion of the sonic screwdriver, I think, was a very good idea. Right? That if you're somebody who hasn't collected before and you're looking for and you don't have these things, like I don't have a Percy sonic screwdriver, so if it wasn't shipping, I would have got that. I think
I am a prime mark for a whole line of all 15 of these, and I mean, maybe okay.
All 15, get out of here! God. Really?
The thing is, if I'm gonna own 14 of them, and I probably would, then I'd probably need the. But I'm potentially a mark for an entire range of these, and. But if they just throw it at you and say, it'll all be sold out by 3 o'clock, think, oh, fuck off. Market this stuff properly, cost it properly, put it out in a shop where I can fucking find it, ideally.
Yeah, but they can't do it at bulk prices anymore. Doctor Who is not that interesting. It doesn't sell stuff. And who was it on your panel? They were so right when they said they expected it to do gangbusters. They were going to have like all these merchandise that never showed up, right? And I think they've been scrabbling ever since. I think they've been shocked ever since the merch sales and also the reception of the new. They're still in a state of shock. I think that's probably where
I'd be in the market. I'd be in the market for this line of merchandise, but not modelled and marketed in this way. The price I would possibly move on if I had the luxury of time to be able to budget for it. Again, if they'd have said at Christmas, look, at the beginning of March, we're going to start a wave of these Vortex editions, Doctors and Screwdrivers. They're going to be priced at this point, and there'll be limited number. I think, okay, fair enough. It's up to you whether you budget for it or not. But when they're just going, this is as much as one of the Blu-ray box sets.
That's very true. Yeah, and look, have you opened up your season 7 yet?
No.
I'm still, but there's so much stuff to plow through. It's such a wonderful set, right? Although, man,
I spend more time talking about Doctor Who than I do watching it.
Sorry,
I spend more time talking about Doctor Who than I do watching it.
That's true. But they didn't do new effects on most of like Ambassador Death really needed new effects, right? You're quite distracted by the original. And also, I realized it wasn't the cheapness of the dinosaur in the Silurians. It was the Godzilla anime kind of look they gave the dinosaur, which was just stupid. It looked more like came out of Terrorhawks. It looked awful. So I'll miss it with that. But by the way,
there's a bunch of people, mate, who for them the Blu-ray sets as they currently are. They're interested in having the episodes looking better than they did before, but they don't buy those box sets, and they weigh it up based on a number of factors. Yeah. They'd like the stuff. They'd probably like the stuff on Blu-ray, and but they think, well, I don't want this. I don't need that. And that's kind of how I feel about this. Like, for example, they've coated the Pertwee figures cape now in something that gives it a sort of velvety look and feel.
Right,
I think, well,
right. I
could live with that. If that's going to be the difference of a tenner then I can live without.
No, exactly. And also
rubbing it across my foreskin.
I'm looking around my room, my office right now, and I have at least 3 or 4 Pertwee figures. The new face sculpt is nice, but for me, it's not enough. Again, if it was at a more affordable price and without the shipping, the sonic screwdriver really sells it. But what can you do?
I can't think of many areas where they're marketing Doctor Who appropriately, correctly, effectively. The Blu-ray box sets are probably the only thing, I think that's entirely Pete McTeague, right? I think he's the only one with real passion driving that range right now. There's a set of between six and a dozen people who work at various corners of that make it all happen. And they all feel largely the same, but their talents lie in sort of different areas. Unfortunately, the stars sort of align to bring us those sets. But I like the fact that for people who don't want the limited edition chunky boxes, they don't mind waiting a little bit longer, and they can have the slimline ones without the massive booklet, and without that, and a little bit cheaper. It's a good 15, 20 quid cheaper.
I'm stupid because I do it the other way around. I buy the big chunky ones because I can't wait, and then I make my own covers and put them in the slim ones. Yeah, I got the worst of both worlds, right? I'm paying more, but I get the booklet. The booklet's gorgeous, right? Everything about I love doing the unboxings. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. Right, it's a great product.
I made a couple of unboxing videos of those, and people do like them. I'm a little mystified as to why people like them, because they are exactly the same. You're
done so well, right? The boxing is done so incredibly well. So, did you see this story that due to unavoidable production delays, with sincere regret, the following audio production release had been rescheduled? So you got the second Doctor Adventure is one I'm irritated about. It's that they're a long way off now, right? I just think this doesn't sound like things are going well in Big Finish.
I can't remember Big Finish.
I don't know how they would be going well given their output right now, which is, so when's this due out now?
I can't say that, obviously Big Finish may have fucked up like this before, but this is certainly the first time that I can remember that they've ever fucked up to such an extent they've had to acknowledge it on a social media platform. So this must have been quite acknowledging.
They're just saying production delays. They haven't acknowledged anything. Like this was originally scheduled for 2023, I think. It's like 2020. It was like I can't remember. When was the first one come out? And it was actually, I thought, did you ever listen to this? I thought it was really good.
No, I didn't, and I did hear it was good. And didn't Nick Briggs write that during lockdown?
I'm not sure when he wrote it, but it came out in May 2020, so probably not. Right? He probably wrote it beforehand. But I just found it a really interesting bit of sci-fi, right? And it's like 2025 is the next one, 2026. Like, for goodness sake, why did you say you're not doing it? But yeah, I think and again, we doomsay Big Finish all the time, but like the quality of their product is just not what it used to be. I finished listening to the last Third Doctor release, and the one before I thought was excellent. The Quintessence. Did I tell you about that one?
Yeah, you did say it was good. The one with Joe
was really excellent. So I was like quite enthused, and then the next one was just a chore to get through. And so now I got the first episode, and I'm not committing to pay for it until I listen to the first episode of the song. But you can't really trust anything anymore. No. So yeah, I just don't see, and I see their release schedule really slowing down. Man, this OCAS thing is embarrassing. I might get this one because Stephen Noonan, right? Because I like Stephen Noonan and I like to support him. But
you guaranteed. Yeah, I think you're guaranteed a certain level of quality with Stephen's work. Well, I know you are, and with Tim Trelaw's work.
Generally speaking, I like. Although I felt the same way at Jonathan Curry. This new War Doctor set sounds boring as anything. I played the trailer for this because I couldn't quite understand why they were going down this road with it. It's interesting. I noticed that Daisy Ashford's playing a new character in it too, and I thought pairing those two actors to hear it sounds interesting enough, but what I don't see. I just don't get how it tracks. I think they make some kind of like strange alternate reality thing where it's like where they're like the X-Files and they have to solve the mystery, and there's one of those kind of things. But like, do you remember that War Doctor box set when it was in the Land of Fiction, Escape from Reality? It was called. That was probably one of the best they did. That was fantastic, right? But Big Finish just seemed intent on like flushing away the things that are really working for them, right? Stephen Noonan and Lauren Cornelius. There's such a great Doctor companion lineup, right? They blew it away last time, and on all of them, right? They just need to lean into doing Doctor Who, and they just seem kind of bored with doing that right now.
You know what's not helping? Since they standardised the look of the ranges, so that none of them. It's always the blue Doctor Who logo. There's no bywords, so you can't see which range belongs to which anymore. Sometimes there's different styles of artwork. So now it's all like one mass. I think that their marketing
is even worse than Big Finish. That's one of their biggest problems. Like anybody new going there, like, what the hell? I can't find anything at all.
See, before you could pick a line and think, okay, I'm going to collect all of this range, and I could stick with that, and I'll be doing this for 18 months, and I'll just pick away at these. That's how I did a lot of my listening. Where I always bought the main range, always. But I didn't get on board with the miniseries and stuff until they'd been going a little while. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll listen to all of Dalek Empire. So I think that took me about 18 months, maybe longer.
Dalek Empire was fabulous.
And that's how I did it.
Very good.
And each range had a different look, different logo, and I just felt like something special. Whereas now everything looks largely the same. And if you were coming to it new, or if you've just drifted away from it for a while, you think, I want to get back, I want to get stuck into that again. You just see this mass of covers that they've started to improve again the last year or so, but until recently, they're all a mass of floating heads, all the same logo. You don't know what belongs to what. I think maybe that's an edict from BBC marketing. I don't know. Everything has to look the same, but I think that it needs to be the case.
You're absolutely right. They should be delineating the ranges and visually, and they're not. Right, and which was a problem. Anyway, it's only like a minute and a half. By the way, Daisy Ashford is by far the winner in the escape room challenge, the third Doctor on the DVD box set.
She in that?
That's really one of my favorite features. That's over like an hour and 15 minutes long. Fabulous. You can't stop watching it. You got her, Katie Manning, and Liz Sladen's daughter. What's her name again? Sadie Miller.
Yeah, well, she came out the winner with me because when we interviewed her at Hooverville, she laughed at all my jokes, even if she didn't. I don't think she found them funny, but she laughed anyway. So yeah, thanks.
This was Daisy Ashford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's totally. But you can see she is absolutely the most normal of the three of them, right? You could put her in normal society and everything would work. You couldn't do that with Katie Manning, obviously, but also with.
No. Katie Manning is larger than life. Yeah.
But good for her. Anyway, here, let me play this for a second.
Welcome to the Galactic Investigations Bureau. During your time at the GIB, you'll investigate serial killers, mobsters, and a sea's worth of dead fish.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The War Doctor Rises, Fallen Heroes.
Yes, we're the GIB agents. Wyatt Smith.
Oh, so it's like a Men in Black X-Files rip-off, sort of the parody, whatever. But here's the thing. We want to see the War Doctor being the War Doctor. We don't want to see the War Doctor not being the War Doctor, right? That's really the most important thing. And this is him not being the War Doctor.
And this is my partner, Louisa Tixon.
It's our first time on Fault.
Oakview Beach. You see anyone to park?
At any point during training, did you imagine you'd have to investigate something like this?
Deceased has been identified by his wife as the local mayor, Mortimer Stewart. Heads up, said wife is also the sheriff.
The deceased is...
the wife's the sheriff. Is there an authority figure that's a bloke left in Doctor Who? I don't think so. Right?
Left in the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
in position to act as the hands of an analog clock face.
I am meant to be the law in Oakview, and someone in my town, under my protection, kills my husband?
Okay, that sent me right back to... What was that awful release they did with the 8th Doctor in its first season and the Brigadier? Minuet in Hell.
Yeah.
Oh, God, with lots of very bad American accents.
The rest of the clock face has been made up with dead fish.
Everyone embraced the blasphemy of no time.
Again, the body indicates a time of 7:10.
However much you dig, whatever progress you think you're making, you'll never work it out.
You freed him from divinity.
Look at all this. Imagine hating time so much you scratch the dates off everyone's graves.
And again, it's surrealistic, but again, this is not what people go to the War Doctor for. You know, they go for war stories essentially with Doctor Who.
He's no more than you.
You sure you've never been here before?
The town at war with time? Pretty sure I'd remember.
Powers that can alter time and space.
Don't. Well, the guy who did it, he was this doctor from Gallifrey, and apparently he looked a little like you.
How did the Doctor die?
Big finish.
Queerness, apparently. That seems to wipe it out pretty good. This Six Doctors is set. Looks like the first good Six Doctors thing they've done in about 7 years. It's been a dire few years for the Six Doctor range, but this one with the Iris Wild theme, that's
well, they made the mistake of asking Colin Baker the kind of stories he'd like to appear in and where he'd like to creatively take it.
Yeah, that's a big
mistake.
Yeah, but I really like he's got the Terric, what they call it again, the distributors, the one who do the annual pastiches.
I can never Terranius.
Yeah, whatever. I love the work there, but he's reading one of their books on the cover, which I think is really nice, right? I think so. I look, this one I'm probably going to stump up for. It's been the first Six Doctor one in years and years and years and years and years. I'm going to tell you. Fine. Shall we go back to the Waris Hussein one? This interview is actually quite good so far. He hasn't talked about sex once yet. Right. So you came in. I was looking at the AI recreation of Marco Polo being done by Midjourney.
Yeah.
That's coming out soon. That looks good. So fine. This is the preamble. I
love that photograph of Waris, Verity, and Sidney Newman. Love it. I've got that saved down.
That's not Sidney Newman, is it?
Oh, that's Bronnie Webber. Sorry, is it?
I can't.
Mervyn Pinfield. No, yeah, whoever it is.
And they're saying he was 24 when he filmed it, and that's really one of the big problems with Doctor Who today. That you don't have. It's too precious. There's too many levels of management. They used to be able to make 13 episodes a year and 2 other series. Now it's 8 episodes every 18 months. If you're lucky, right? Go back to how you used to do it, because it was fine then, and the special effects were fine. Everything was fine. So we had a very tight budget. Blah 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 blah.
The episodes still stand up. So what was the problem?
Right. I mean, again, what would you rather watch? Doctor Who from 2006 or Doctor Who from 2025? It's not even close.
Not even a competition.
No, not at all. Fine. I was trying to make Doctor Who work. Looking at blah blah blah. But in fact, Waris was a young Asian and gay, a triple threat. For those raised eyebrows in 1963, well, they were all hidden under layers. Yeah, there wasn't that many layers. I couldn't let them come to the surface. You can't exactly hide being Asian, but one sexuality you could. In those days, it was frowned upon. It was as if my sexuality was a dirty thing, but it wasn't the 60s, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, look, it was considered. It was only just legal, wasn't it? When did same-sex relation become legal? It was like the 70s or the 60s?
I know that it was illegal. There was an age, the legal age for homosexual sex was different to the age for heterosexual sex.
Right, it was.
I can't quite remember.
But and again, look, I want to say to all the queer people out there, I acknowledge that the world has changed massively.
It's hard to understand, isn't it? That there would be that disparity. It seems so strange now. Unnecessary.
I mean, look, no. Here's the thing: the reason we can't understand it is because in the world we live in right now, there's no value put on traditional a traditional family life. Right back in the 60s and before, that was paramount to everyone. Like a traditional family life, that was your goal. Your goal was to have children and have a white picket fence or whatever, to have that traditional life. right? Now it's relentlessly denigrated, and so but why was it not socially acceptable to be gay? Because it was antithetical to that life. And again, I'm not going to pretend that was a right or a good thing, right? Even though like it aligns with my religious worldview, being a cunt also doesn't align to it. So and also I think same-sex marriage. My only problem with was calling it marriage. But yeah, I think it's messed up that gay couples didn't have the same rights as straight couples. But anyway, look, in the 60s, it was, I would say, a much more moral and better world, frankly.
Oh, generally speaking, yeah, values and sense of a cultural sort of cohesive culture and pride and sense of not ambition as such, but a sense of what one was striving for personally, domestically, as well as sort of on a broader canvas.
And you can see Waris here, like striving for normalcy and exception, right? Which again, I think Russell Lee Davis and people who in this worldview have put onto the most bizarre fringe kink sexuality, right? I think being cross-dressing is a kink, and I think you get off on it, and it's fine that you do it. I have no problem with that. But like saying that, trying to say this is a normative, healthy sexuality, no, it's not. You're insane, right? And also maybe, and yeah, you can tell that. Okay, the real difference is this. I think exposure of gay people in media, right, as we grew up with in the 80s and more in the 90s, EastEnders and like that did more to normalize gay life, right? So people like us now have no problem with someone being gay because we grew up with that. However, the more exposure you have to like weird transy culture stuff,
because if you remember Colin and Barry and EastEnders all the way back in 1986. One of them worked for a painter and decorator. The other guy was a graphic designer. They went to the pub. They went to the laundrette. They had tea. They went to the pictures. They did the same things that everybody else did.
Representative of gay couples in the time.
Normal people.
We all had friends like that,
homosexual,
right?
Rather.
And it was like that was a great time. That's what made I think it brought us to the 2000s, which I think was a post-racial, post-bigotry age, which is sadly gone now.
Now they would never put two gay characters like that in a soap. One of them would have to be a drag artist, a drag queen, and the other one would run a sex shop or something like that. It would be. Yes. They wouldn't work at a butcher's or it would be anything like that.
Exactly. There's no normalization because they're so batshit fucking weird all the time. Anyway, at the time Waris was working on Doctor Who, male homosexual was still illegal in the UK. Well, good for you. So the guilt is still living in me, he says. I find it hard to introduce my partner as my husband even now. I can understand that. Okay. That's a perfectly normal thing to do because I would never have said that back then. These young people don't realize how lucky they are. They don't. And how fortunate it is that they can talk about themselves being gay or bi or trans. Being young today is a miracle. The young today are more miserable, right? And
miserable and medicated.
Miserable, medicated, and messed up, right? I think some weird, huge statistic, like 35% of Gen Z boys have never had an in-person conversation with a girl, right? It's like there is a lot of life experience and growth in asking a girl out, right?
Yes.
And getting yourself to be able to do that means it makes you into a stronger person.
It really does. I was blown out more times than a windsock.
Yeah, but you want to get laid, so try again, right? And it finally dawned on me, right, what the perfect package was when I was about 18, which was just like complete confidence, right? And ease. And that is that. Okay, if you're young and out there, right, if you're Gen Z. And you've never asked a girl out, that's what you got to do. Like ask a girl out like you don't that you like her.
You
but
don't care whether she goes or not. Yeah.
right. And just relax and happy, but not that you're disinterested in her. It's an interesting balance. You'll get used to it. Okay, so decriminalized 67, right, for men over the age of 21. Scotland until 1980. Blimey. Wow, right? And the age of consent was not equalized until 2001. I imagine in BBC 963 is a very male-dominated environment full of straight men in tweed jacket. Well, no, I don't think it was, actually. I think there was a lot of... and certainly by the 80s, there was a lot of rampant...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's... The idea that was some sort of armor, that it wasn't... That was our culture. That was British etiquette, British cultural identity, and there was nothing wrong with that.
In fact, there's quite a lot right with it. So it said it was ultra male. Anyone was out at the BBC? Was anyone out at BBC? Well, I'm sorry to say, underneath all the tweed and corduroy, the old school ties, there were a lot of old British hypocrisy of denying what was blatantly there. Do you remember one of my favorite things Russell Lee Davies wrote, A Very British Scandal? Did you see that?
In my view, that's the best thing he's ever written.
I really like it. There's a scene when you have the two politicians at the beginning and they're in a dinner club and they're basically feeling out if each other is gay, right? And they do you remember that scene? It was a really well-written scene. And I'm sure there was a lot of that, right? I'm sure there was a ton of that. So so you just confirmed, yes, you weren't allowed to discuss it, but there was a lot of being gay at the BBC. I remember one day I was looking at a monitor and somebody came up behind me and touched my derriere. I pretended to be very indignant and said, "What do you think you're doing?" Because I wasn't out. Well, in case you were, mate. He said, I thought, but I thought, how the heck? How I get any clue? Yes. That moment clued me in. There were more people in the building hiding who they were. Yes, I understand. So BBC had a secret coven of gays. There was a kind of defiance to it as well. No one knew. You're not hiding. Everybody knew, right? Everybody knew that people.
I mean, it's odd that, and I'm sure that Waris is being honest in this account of how he viewed things. Yeah. But it's odd that when you see the evidence, when you read interviews and hear interviews with other people, both straight and gay people around that time, there doesn't seem to be any mystery about it at all. There was lots of gay people working there, and everybody knew about it. So it seems like Waris was the only one who didn't know.
Maybe more. I mean, like Ed. Certainly, John Nathan Turner and Gary Downey, they certainly knew.
Made it their business to make sure that everybody...
I wish somebody would make a sequel to Adventure in Time and Space based on that era of Doctor Who, the cancellation. With who would you get to play John Nathan Turner? I don't know. Matt Berry, maybe?
Because we view John Nathan Turner as quite an exaggerated character. I think you'd have to give it to. Who's that bloke who plays Strike? Who plays Robert Galbraith Strike?
I don't know.
He was in Casanova. Tom. I think you'd have to give it to a straight actor. You'd have to give it to somebody who could play the part not in an exaggerated way, particularly wearing those sort of shirts and things. You have to be a good actor.
You get Carrie Down is much easier to cast. But again, I do think it was messed up. Like, what was it on the Two Doctors DVD? Gary Downey, he was still alive then. Gary Downey, he didn't know, was
I remember.
Long-time partner, right? And I really recommend the book, The Life and Scandalous Times of John Nathan Turner. It tells you all about their tempestuous relationship, which was fascinating, right? It's really interesting. But like, he was presenting something on a DVD and he wasn't able to say he was his John Nathan Turner's longtime spouse, which is what he was. So it's even then, and that was like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? Because I think it's more his attitude. That's what he grew up with. That's what got to keep it quiet.
Something sort of ingrained in him.
Right. So Variety must have known. I was doing in 1978 Edward and Mrs. Simpson for her. I didn't know she did that. Blimey. Lambert was the head of drama at Thames Television. She absolutely knew, but she never went into it with me. Never. Why would she? What's that got to do with anything?
Nobody's business, but the gentleman themselves. It's not
right. Exactly. I don't really talk about my sexuality much, except in this massive interview. Even now. Okay. Why? You know why? Because you're brought up in a more moral age where we didn't constantly talk about, like having wanted to have sex. I mean, like, well, I do, but I mean, like, I'm waiting for it, right?
Whenever I've seen Waris Hussein interviewed or speaking, he always seems like a very happy man, but he's got an air of sort of dignity, of congeniality about him.
Yeah, dignity is 100% the right word. Right? He absolutely does. When you write this up, Doctor Who fans are going to be like, what? Variety was a very wise woman. She got the best from me. What's it? Even that. What do I miss? I don't want to talk about sexuality. There's no point although there's no point hiding, but there is a point hiding it. I'm sorry. There's a point in everybody having some kind of like modesty. Right? It's a good idea. It makes the world a better place. I don't mind that you're gay. Just, Stop! Like throwing your cum in my face, right? I think that's.
I've got to say to see virtue in modesty doesn't mean that one has to sort of embrace shame and the idea of villainizing or compartmentalizing and labeling people as othering people. I suppose is the phrase that we use now, isn't it? The two things don't necessarily go hand in hand, though. I think modesty and propriety, not bad things, virtues.
That's what we've got here. This is an interesting line. I'm reminded of a line in one of what Waris's Doctor Who episode. Fear makes companions of us all, Miss Wright. It's an interesting point. It is an interesting point.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted Doctor Who to be scary. Again, is he? Basically talking about his life, being brought up, Victorian school system, Waris and sister, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm more interested about. I would be much more interested about his life and career, frankly, like because he was a trailblazer, so he felt loyal to Verity.
It's good that he's opened up to any writer in this way. The more that we find out about these people who are essential in the founding of this show, whilst they're still with us, the better. Yes, and I suppose you could say it's a valuable sort of cultural document, talking to a man of that generation in this way. Again, though. As much as I am delighted that Waris Hussein has spoken to Doctor Who magazine, and don't begrudge Ben getting this interview at all, you do wonder, an interview of this nature, would it not be better off sold to the Pink Paper or one of those places? I don't know.
So anyway, then we start talking about woke stuff again. Then was a complicated matter of the show's twinkly, cantankerous, contradictory leading man, William Hartnell.
Oh, here we go. They're going to have a pop at him now, are they?
Really? An interview in the Telegraph last year, Waris was asked about the actor's bigotries, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, and homophobia have all been well documented. Well, he got on okay with Verity Lambert, who was super Jewish as far as I right. What did Waris make of this? He thought, "Who on earth is this foreigner with a posh accent directing me?" Do you find that hateful?
No, not remotely.
I don't. I just find like you're looking at things with a specific attitude. Are you looking at him like he's less? I think you probably are actually. With that, I don't know. But it's not like he's saying, "Give him a kicking." Right?
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with having standards and concerns, and having and by all accounts, William Hartnell really wanted the best for that production. It wasn't necessarily a case of if this kid, if this immigrant child. It makes a hash of directing this, how it's going to affect my career. It didn't. I don't think he looked at it like that. It's more a case of, is this man experienced enough to be the director who launches this show, which is an ensemble show,
you're making a good
which
point
could, there. So again, I think you can read. I think that they're reading. I think one can read too much into this. I haven't read
reading too much into it. I think that's the thrust of the article is that gay people are victimized, are victims. Right, which I think is something that's very important, a worldview for Ben Cook to have. So he said very cleverly, but I never allowed to think of anything other than a director. Very smart move, right? So today, Waris clarifies Bill didn't use homophobic language, but he was a dyed-in-the-wool Brit, and homophobia was baked into old-fashioned British mindset. He was like a colonial bod. He would have been sent off to Burma or wherever. To him, when he met me, I was just this little Indian kid, a coloured boy, you know. But, you know, you would have thought he's in the arty set.
He is and was Indian.
Right.
He is Indian. So what's his point? It's not clearly Hartnell didn't dismiss this as he could have, if he had a problem with it. I presume he was the lead. He could have refused to work with him or kicked up some sort of stink. He clearly didn't. So of course the fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I understand there's a cultural difference to being a different colour in England when
what Waris says here, and I know he only worked on it for a couple of months, Hartnell didn't use he didn't demonstrate any homophobia whatsoever. By this account, none at all. It's everything. It's what is being seen in him as a type. They're forcing labels onto a man who has been dead for this year 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. What do you say to somebody who fought in World War II and was proud of the British and flew the flag? You should say, I'm proud as well, right? Especially in today's Britain, where you can be proud to be gay and British. There's no tension between the two.
See, Waris does seem to have generally quite a healthy grasp of this, but I feel that the interview is fishing for something that simply isn't there.
Yeah, this is Ben Cook pulling out a narrative. He tested me, I guess, and found me competent, and then he respected me. But instead, I think Doctor Who rested on his shoulders. Oh yeah, I think that's basically what you were saying. So man, this has to go on for a bit. Man, I can't read all of this. But
it's
again,
a generous page count, which is fitting for a man like Waris Hussein, and it does seem like it goes into greater depth than the stuff people. Why has Russell T Davies got that fucking terrible moustache?
Oh, I remember. He I think he was contemplating impersonating a gay porn star.
Was it Movember or something like that? Was he doing it for a charity thing?
No idea. It's a very. I very specifically went along to meet Waris Hussein that day. Said Russell T Davies on the reflecting on the 2017 LGBTQIA plus month celebration at the museum. Okay, again, and I just recommend to everybody queer, right? And this is a heartfelt recommendation. You know, stop going on about being queer. Stop going like you can be. Look, I'm very proud of being Jewish, right? I don't need Jewish Pride Day. I'm proud every day, baby. But like, you can be gay and be not gay. You can be queer and be the same, right? You can be like. The only reason you need all these Pride months is because you're not very proud. Yeah, you're trying to legitimize yourself, right? And I think that's the only explanation. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.